We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 46. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place, one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, otherwise known as the director, the actress, and who the hell is that guy? Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 46. Guys, we're coming up on a year of broadcasting.
Crazy.
I am your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-host Chad Kukihiko and Michelle Lukadu. All of us are members of the We Make Movies filmmaking community in Los Angeles. How's it going, guys?
Dude, how was last show, man? Last show, right?
Oh,
Just
my
a
God,
word
that was
about
pretty-
last show. That was pretty badass.
Whether you're a live YouTube watcher, or just listen in on the audio feed, you've got to go back and check out last week's show. It was incredible. We had the directors of The Hornet's Nest on. I'm so excited for that film to come out. Going to make a adjustment here.
Word.
And that was probably one of the top shows we've done on this fine channel. Anyway, we've got a lot of community news this week. We actually need to look at ways that we can pare this down in the future.
I beg to differ.
I
beg to differ.
We're gonna launch right into it. First bit of community news. Happy Star Wars Day, everyone. I will be talking about this in my main topic, but I couldn't start the show without saying May the 4th be with you always. And next up, this week is Sketch Night in the We Make Movies calendar of events, where we read 4-page sketches submitted by the We Make Movies community. The sketches are voted on. 3 winners will be selected to shoot at YouTube Space LA. And in other upcoming project news, How We Make Movies is on May 17th. It will be at the Theater Asylum in Hollywood. I'm not certain what the times or the guests will be, but keep an eye on the newsletter and the website for info as it continues to develop. If you're not already on it, you can subscribe to the newsletter at wemakemovies.org/newsletter, or just on the site itself. Chad, do you want to talk about submissions for WMM Fest?
Absolutely. I'm also going to start it off with a small discussion about why I think the community news, as things develop in the community, start to expand, and they are going like crazy. I'll get more into that when I talk about the slides, but they're going to, like, I will probably have slightly less news items and share a lot of what's going on, because Michelle and I, but especially myself, are privy to a lot of the things that are developing, and you need to know about it. You should hear about it so you can take advantage of it. So that said, WMM Fest is coming is right around the corner. Submissions are open. Deadline is May 15th. If you want to submit, go to wemakemovies.org/WMMFest until the 15th. And after the 15th, that's when the deadline is happening. That's going to be it. So tickets are going to be available. Tickets are actually available right now if you go to WMMFest.com. But we don't know when the screenings, who's going to screen when. We're going to figure that out by June 1st, but the screenings, so you know, if you want to make sure that you leave them open, are the 18th, 20th, 22nd, 25th, and 27th. All times are 8 p.m. except for Sunday the 22nd, which is 6 p.m. Please remember that the festival is 21 plus only. Unfortunately, it's at a bar, 3 clubs, which is a lot of fun, but that's it's not unfortunate that it's a lot of fun, but it's unfortunate that if you're under 21, you're not going to be able to come. If you want to attend all the screenings, we're almost certainly going to have an all-festival pass that's also available. Not sure exactly how much it'll cost. Last year it was $35, but we're hoping, but I haven't talked to the rest of the people yet. So anyway, that's probably going to be the price again. And keep your eye on the newsletter. Keep your eye on WMMFest.com for more info on that. And another cool thing about getting this all-festival pass is you get a really cool little lanyard that I make. I hand make them, actually. that is actually...
Chad.
Yes. I don't paint them or anything. I print them and then laminate them. But they look fantastic, and you should get one. We're going to sell only a limited number of them. There'll probably only be about 30 like there was last year, so get one. And then, as I sort of teased just a moment ago, there's a lot that is happening in our community. And there's not a whole lot. I mean, that's why if we talked about everything on every Film Geeks, that would be the whole Film Geeks. So we don't have time. So what we started to do, because at the beginning of all of our workshops, our announcements were starting to get really epic. Alon O'Connor had this really amazing idea of creating sort of slides that would be playing and rotating as people come into into the space. And so we started to do that just this past workshop, and it seemed to be pretty good. Definitely the announcements were a lot shorter, which was really nice. But the downside to this is if you are not paying attention, if you're not reading those slides, you're probably going to miss a lot of the things. And then you're going to get mad, and you're going to yell at us because you missed opportunities, and you'll have heard about it from other people who are like, oh my God, I just did this thing. It was amazing. And you'll have missed it because you weren't reading the slides. So read the slides, pay attention, read the workshop, get the newsletter. A lot going on. There you have it.
Yes. Well, and one more thing.
Well, I have one more thing to say on that before we move on, which is just that this is where the more active the community is, the better it is for everyone. Because if somebody gets an announcement and somebody else doesn't, then you talk about what's going on. There are certain people who talk a lot about when they're getting something of theirs submitted, or when various things. Like everybody on the board, pretty much all you're talking about when you're talking to people before and after the events is what's going on. Other people, feel free to take the initiative. If you think that something cool is going on, talk about it with other members in the community, because then nobody has to miss anything ever at all.
Totes.
That's my suggestion. All right, sorry, Michelle.
No, it's fine, totally. I just had one more community thing. Just if you haven't checked out the YouTube channel lately, it is ridiculous. There are so many things going on. There's short attention span with Laura Menino, which is hilarious. High freaking hilarious. And every Tuesday there's this sketch that has won the sketch night is up with a custom outro by yours truly. There's so much on there. So if you haven't gone to the YouTube channel, I don't know why. Get your ass on there. And also make sure you subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe so we can keep making cool shit.
Word.
And by the way, this is not official, but I and Michelle have had this idea, and whether or not like an entire group thing goes on, I will. If it needs to just be me and Michelle, then it will be. But we will try to do an awesome celebratory video every 1,000 subscribers we hit. We're really, really close to 2,000.
Yeah.
So when we hit 2,000, Michelle.
No, I already have something lined up. I've been talking about
really?
it for weeks. Yes, in fact. Oh, and by the way, if you are one of the viewers, I see we have a couple of live viewers right now. If you are watching this right now, you are watching this live. You can comment on the YouTube channel. We will see it and we can respond to you. Anyway.
Just don't comment on my hair.
Comment on her hair. Comment on her hair.
That said, damn, what the hell was I just saying?
You were saying, what's your commemorative video idea? Can you tell people?
Oh, yes, no, it's not commemorative per se. What it is we did these Scott Greenberg parody videos. If you saw these Scott Greenberg commercials, these like GOP, where they were just. I mean, the originals are hilarious, and they're not supposed to be hilarious. And so we kind of spoofed them. John Oliver did it, to be fair, better than we did. But we did, because he beat us to it, so we kind of had to change the jokes up a little bit. I like what we did, but we have a ton. What we have that John Oliver does not necessarily have is a ton of outtakes that are just sitting on my hard drive. And I am waiting to put them out, and they are really offensive. I mean... they're pretty hilarious, I think. They're not outtakes so much as it's Jeff Bauer kind of riffing off, pretending he's this dude Scott Greenberg, and it's pretty funny stuff. So at 2,000, I've already promised I will release that in its own separate video. So if you help get us, and we're close, we're actually quite close. Probably in the next couple days we'll hit it. So I will release those the moment we hit that.
That's incredible. And just tossing this out there, when we hit 5,000, I know this is like a ways off, but maybe not. When we hit 5,000, I and anybody else in the group who wants to will do the cinnamon challenge. So there you go.
Nice.
With that,
what is the cinnamon challenge?
you have to try and swallow a tablespoon of cinnamon, straight up cinnamon, with no water or anything like that. It's basically humanly impossible. Like the human
I've
body.
seen one person do it.
Oh, really? Wow.
One person.
Okay.
She's like,
Well, I'd like to propose a staff-wide music video.
I would love to do that. We should definitely, maybe for 3,000 or something. We'll definitely be thinking up cool stuff for you guys.
For sure.
All right, so let's launch into the general news items for the week. Amazing Spider-Man 2 released this weekend. Critics have only given it a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is much worse than the 70% they gave the first episode, or first installment, I guess, of the reboot. However, audiences seem to be liking it as much or better than the first one, at least, again, according to Rotten Tomatoes. One recurring statement I've heard in support of this one is that the first Amazing Spider-Man was kind of shoehorned in, so Sony didn't lose their rights to the character by going more than 5 years without making a film. And it kind of felt that way, and I definitely felt that way. Whereas this time, Webb, that's actually the director's name, seems to have been able to sort of like take his time with it and make it like a good film. And to be clear, I really liked the characters and the acting in the first one, but the movie, the plot, the story, etc., just felt very bleh. So this time they've been able to take a little bit more time with it and everything. So that's what people who like it are saying. However, one recurring criticism is that this reboot has achieved in 2 films what Sam Raimi took 3 films to reach: overblown action, too many villains, and an overstuffed plot. Personally, I'm not super excited about it. I didn't like the first one. I doubted that I would like this one when I saw how many villains they were cramming into the story. So if I do end up seeing it in theaters, I'll let you know my thoughts and everything, but there you go. That's a collection of the opinions on The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Either of you guys get out to see it yet?
I did, and I actually really enjoyed it. Now, mind you, I did. I did. I really enjoyed it. I was lucky enough to get Friday off. So one of my favorite things to do in the world is to go see a matinee on a weekday.
Wow.
So Kendall and I made a day of it, and yeah, and I really, really actually enjoyed it. I was super skeptical when I saw how many villains there were. It's not really fair to say that there are 3 different villains. I mean, really, when you see it, you'll know what I mean. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's really one story, and the story is pretty much about their relationship. Primarily. So I think it's actually quite good. I was really, really, really surprised.
Well, that's good to hear, because I was not. I'm so. Ugh, I don't know.
I don't want to spoil anything, but it's not like it's one story. Just the villains are not 3 separate storylines. It's all one story. And it's quite, and like I said, now mind you, I liked the first one clearly a lot more than you did. I thought it was more about the relationship, which it should be. I think really good movies are about human things, regardless of whether they're set into a comic book world or not.
Regardless of
Did
whether
you think
they're
it was
human
better?
or not.
Better. You thought it was better than the first one, even though you liked the first one.
I liked the first. I liked them both. I think I liked them both equally. But yeah, so if you didn't like the first one, you may not like this one. It's about them. It's about their relationship. But you might actually like this one better. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Should I put in the effort to see it in theaters or wait for DVD?
I would see it. I would see it in the theaters. Yeah, it's enough of a spectacle that you might as well. You know what I mean? It's fun to watch in the theaters. Yeah. I mean,
Mark Webb, you can email your check to Chad at WongDVD, which is
well, that said, I still think that the animation in both movies was kind of cartoonish. But because I saw it in the first one, I was prepared for it in the second one. So it is, you know, they clearly don't have as much money as some of these other huge blockbuster movies. So it does look a little bit cartoonish. But if you're okay with that, if you're prepared for that, and just go see it. It'll be fun. I think if you like the first one, then you should enjoy this as well.
I have a question, Chad. Do they blow shit up?
They blow shit up, but I don't think it's
like
too much. I don't think it's too much. I think that it's what it needs, and the story is really about them.
Yeah, still. They blow shit up?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Blow shit up.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Michelle, you've got next up on the general news.
Speaking of blowing shit up, listen, Bollywood is blowing up. I'm assuming that's kind of old news, but the Bollywood Film Awards were just held in Tampa last week. Now, for us Hollywood snobs, it wasn't that big of a news item, but folks, Bollywood is like badass. This was the first time people call it the Bollywood Oscars. The first time the Bollywood Oscars was in America, and it drew 800 million viewers in 110 countries.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Wow.
It's huge. And like over $11 million in revenue to the Tampa Bay area for like 3 days. It was held in the Raymond James Stadium, like a stadium, people, like where the Tampa Bay, whatever the heck ball team they have played.
Platypuses. I'm pretty sure. I'm not into sports, but I'm pretty sure it's the Tampa Bay Platypuses. Platypi?
Platypi? It would be platypi. Anyway, apparently, anyway, so Bollywood is huge, and it's growing in popularity, like worldwide, and at a crazy exponential rate. So I'm just going to say I'm probably going to see more Bollywood films.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Holy cow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, sorry to skip that. I think that it's incredible how much is going on in Bollywood. Just on a side note, we don't really pay attention to it. I think we ignore it, and we're a little snobby here in the States. But wow, fascinating.
I
Um,
try not to be snobby. I don't know. Like certain people are like, dude, if you're missing Bollywood, you're missing out. And I have seen Bollywood films. It's just not my cup of tea. I think there's a difference between like ignoring it and thinking it's not important. I think it's massively important. They produce way more product than Hollywood does. Arguably, they achieve comparable heights of like cinematic. Not with everything. Obviously, there's a lot of schlock, but there's a lot of schlock in Hollywood.
Well, 85, well, I was reading online, like, it's something like 85% of Bollywood films are basically flops. But
huh.
the percentage that does make it is huge. I mean, it's like, yeah.
They make it
Wow.
so big that it kind of makes up for the rest of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Huh.
interesting. Anyway,
Doesn't sound.
Chad, you've got news about
Yeah.
new filmmakers,
New,
LA.
New Filmmakers LA have partnered with LA Post Production Group to provide a panel and a networking event at Busby's East on the 15th, which is a Thursday, in like a week and a half. Unfortunately, the entire We Make Movies board has a meeting that night, so none of us are going to be there. But we're actually really pretty bummed about that because it's a really cool panel. We're really big fans of New Filmmakers LA, and it's like the one thing that we love more than anything about New Filmmakers LA is that they're like us in terms of like they're not interested in gouging their audience, their attendees. This event,
It sounds painful.
yeah, getting gouged is awful. So we don't do that, and neither does New Filmmaker LA. Unlike other so-called independent film organizations like Film Independent, which is, I don't even want to go down that path, but I mean, like they just gouge the crap out of people. Whereas New Filmmakers LA, we make movies, we provide a lot of what we do for very reasonable prices, $15. That's all this event is. I'm going to try to remember to put the link to it in the notes. You could probably just do a quick little Google search for LA Post Production Group. I think it's pretty much their event. Only $15. It's on Eventbrite, so you could also search for it on Eventbrite, but that means at Eventbrite they always take like $1 something in their processing fee. So that's cheap as hell. Go to it. If you can't find it, just email me, chat@wemakemovies.org, and I'll send you the link to it. And if you go, email me after and tell me how it went, and please tell Larry LeBeau, he's one of the guys from New Filmmakers. All of them are really sweet people. So say hi to Larry, say hi to anybody else there, and tell me how it went if you go.
I really quick just want to say how hilarious it was that you said that the board had a meeting and Michelle was just like, we do, like up until that point she was ready to go. But New Filmmakers LA. Yeah, New Filmmakers LA. They're definitely good folks. I haven't gotten to. I've met them at events. Like a couple of them here and there. Chad, actually, you have introduced them to me at WMM Fest screenings. Incidentally, bringing that back. Yeah, see, close enough.
Look at that.
But anyway, no, but they are good folks. And it's definitely something worth going and checking out. Remember, we're all indie filmmakers out here.
Yeah.
It's good to meet up with the community.
Their monthly screenings, each show is only $6, and which is like half what you pay to go see a regular movie. Plus, you get free friggin' drinks there. It's amazing. If you want an all-night pass and see everything, it's only $16, which is what you basically would pay at like ArcLight. It's totally worth it. It's super inexpensive, and then the films are really good. And then the AT&T Center downtown is really nice.
Yeah.
So there you
check
have
them out, guys.
Yeah,
I'm just saying. All right, I'll move on to my next thing. It's all geek all the time for me this week. I want to talk about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So longtime viewers will remember how excited I was. What?
It's just always all geek all the time. I mean,
that's
like,
true.
not just today.
I shouldn't
like
really announce it as though it's anything unusual.
It's part of your
but
charm.
people who have been watching the show, listening to this show for a long time, will remember how excited I was when Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Was announced, how much I loved it when it first came out. But I kind of fell off the wagon on their first hiatus. After the first 10 episodes, they got renewed for the rest of the season, which I think is like 20-something episodes or something. But in those weeks that it was off the air and they were filming the new episodes, I kind of stopped watching, and when it came back, my schedule was so full that I didn't really like get back into it. It was really good, but I was just couldn't really fit it into my schedule. Now, however, it's been like blowing up, and as the season's been getting near to its end, geek blogs across the internet have been like, praising the crap out of it. Apparently, in the time that I've missed, things have gotten like really, really super intense. Some blogs are calling it like one of the best primetime shows out there, which I'm sort of like, okay, guys, let's just chillax for a second. But who knows? I'm gonna get back into it. It's ABC's actually best rated, one of their best rated Tuesday primetime shows. So there's that. So it is now officially marked as my next show to binge watch. And if you haven't been keeping up with it, maybe go check it out, because apparently there's definitely something to it. And they've been continuing, which is something that we talked about that we loved the idea of. They've been continuing to loop it in with the rest of the cinematic Marvel universe. There have been characters from Thor in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Obviously not Thor himself, but like some of the other Asgardians have made appearances in the show. Characters from the most recent Captain America film have been integrated with the story. So in other words, it's doing like the comic books are doing, where everything is related, and you don't necessarily need to watch Captain America to be able to understand the show. But if you do, there's all kind of in points and everything that like really up your nerd cred and everything.
Interesting.
So
Well, yeah, because Winter Soldier, like, I don't want to, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything, but
I still haven't. I'm going to see it. I'm probably going to see it later today, actually.
Dude, yeah, I mean, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is going to be, like, if they go another season, like, what are they going to do? I don't even know. I can't even tell you why, but
well, I know a lot about the comics, so I think I know what you're talking about. But that happened in the show.
Wow. Okay, I'll check.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. I need
no
to
spoilers. We should stop talking about this.
Right.
No spoilers. But I know what happened in the comics, and it's going to be freaking awesome. Anyway.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, I'm still stuck on the phrase "that up to my nerd cred."
Nerds have cred.
We all carry cards. It's like a little punch card. It's a complicated system. I'll explain it later.
Like merit badges.
All right, I may or may not have the Walking Dead graphic novel in my bookcase. Whatever. Don't even get me started on that. Okay, so speaking of nerd cred, there's this guy Simon Sjoren. I'm not saying that correctly.
Sjoren.
Sjoren?
Yeah.
That's fabulous. Anyway, so I just read on No Film School that he does this cool thing with a drone to capture a nighttime skiing scene.
Whoa.
So, all the cool kids are mounting their cameras on drones to get cool overhead shots that you used to be able to do with, the likes of like a helicopter, right? Okay, so this guy did us one better. He used two intuitive aerial drones, mounted a high-powered LED to one and a red Epic to another, and he shot this kick-ass time skiing scene.
What? All right, you need to include the link. You absolutely because I need to see that.
Well, it's not out yet. This film.
What? Oh, so they're talking about it. They're teasing
talking about it. And there's a video of how they're doing it. But okay. So I think it's badass. I can't wait to see it. I don't care what the film's about. I just want to see it. But I mean, here's the thing about drones. They're not cheap, right? They can be a little dangerous.
Yeah.
And they're
Danny just got one.
Huh?
Danny just got one, a Phantom.
Really?
It's a small one for a GoPro, but yeah. We're taking it to Hawaii with us when we go. I like to say we, even though it's his, but he uses all my equipment, so what the hell?
Play with it. Anyway, and they're also the problem is they're hella loud too. So if there are some serious sound issues if you're using them and you're But still,
it's not something that you but it's that's just like a helicopter. Nobody gets sound on a helicopter take. Like fucking helicopter. That's really, really cool. I actually know a guy who works at JPL and as a side project, Jet Propulsion Laboratories, who recently contributed to getting the Curiosity rover on Mars, so that's cool. But in a side business venture, developed his own filmmaking drone. So I've been trying to kind of find an excuse to use one of those and everything because I know the guy. So anyway,
I want introduce.
yes, I will. I should bring him to Windows Movies. Holy crap! Why haven't I thought of that?
I'm gonna go ahead and dive
Yeah.
into mine if that's right.
Yeah, hit it.
Really, really interesting info came out. I guess it's been kind of already percolating for about a month from Experian Marketing last month, but it only like hit it only hit my radar like a couple weeks ago, maybe like a week and a half ago. Apparently, more and more people are moving away from cable and toward Netflix and Hulu. I know this is not necessarily news, but the exact figures are starting to get really interesting. So, for instance, in 2010, the average of all households who had cut the cord from cable was only 4.5%. Today, it's 6.5%. Now, one thing I didn't quite understand is that each year? So that year, 4.5% of the people did? Because if that's the case,
total.
or is it total based on what time? So it seems to me the only way to do it is from the prior year. I don't know. Anyway, the numbers went up to 6.5%. Now, what's interesting is that when you look at the 18 to 34 demographic, those numbers are basically double.
Wow.
And then when you look at the households that have either Netflix or Hulu, it's triple. So what I wonder is, like, are all of the, like, who, if you have that household, if you have Netflix or Hulu in your household, and you're basically, 1/5 of you will cut the cord. So how much is the 6.5? So is it like all the 6.5 of the total? It's the same. You know what I'm saying? So then 4 times. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out exactly what those numbers mean. I won't get into it too much, but it is interesting. It's going up, and then when you also take into account the very massive fact that cable prices have doubled in the past 14 years, that's according to the research firm SNL Kagan, then it gets really interesting. What's really bizarre to me is that cable stocks seem to be going up right now, and I don't know if that's like I don't know if it's hooey or what, because it seems, I mean, maybe like I said before, maybe it's because cable companies are buying more into ISPs. Maybe they are becoming the people who you get your internet from more and more and more, and that would kind of make sense to me. But anyway, interesting, very, very interesting. We'll see what'll happen.
Yeah, my kind of take is to use that incredible term. I think that is hooey. Like, even if the stock price is going up, I'm sorry, the value of these companies is going down. The value that they're able to deliver compared to people on Hulu and Netflix and even freaking YouTube. Like, YouTube is doing a huge advertising push right now. I'm going to talk. I'll talk about this next week. Hank Green, one of the Vlog Brothers, has been talking about this a lot on his Tumblr and his Twitter and everything like that. YouTube is really pushing the idea of not just advertising YouTube, but advertising YouTube celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've been seeing these ads.
Yeah, and these people are providing way more consistent content that people really give a crap about than most cable, which has drifted a lot into reality.
The difference
TV.
might be that these cable companies might be investing a ton in the actual providing of internet, and that would make sense. Is if they're shifting their model away from their, you know what I'm saying? If they're actually
I get you.
giving people the internet, if they're the internet service providers, then it would actually make sense that they are.
But then that drifts into the whole FCC and net neutrality thing. Oh God, I freaking hate big industry sometimes, man.
Yeah. That's a whole other Film Geeks, but we should definitely talk about
We actually need to talk about that next week. We should have talked. Fuck, if I thought about it, I would have talked about it this week. God damn it. Anyway, okay, so that's something to talk about. I'll jump into the main topics. I have the first main topic. I'll cheer myself up with this one. Happy Star Wars Day again. If you didn't get the joke in the intro, it's the 4th of May, and the joke, of course, is May the 4th be with you. So today is actually the official Star Wars Day. But if you didn't already know... So maybe don't admit to people that you don't get that joke.
That was a sarcastic wasn't it? Look at you.
Yeah. I hope it was. Okay, good. In recent Star Wars news, very excited about this. It was hard to miss this announcement on the internet. You may have already heard about it, but oh, hey, look. E.L. Raver chimed in, just now waking up and jumping in. Hi there, you sexy people. What's up, E.L.?
Hi there.
I believe that's Altman. Yes, it is. Okay, good.
Although we probably shouldn't say that because I think he uses that El Raver account to say pretty vile things.
Okay, awesome.
Not anymore.
Unidentified person who may or may not know.
Unidentified vile human.
So, in recent Star Wars news, so this was announced, a big hoo-ha on the internet. Hoo-ha? Not the right term there.
No.
Brouhaha, that's what I meant
Brouhaha.
to say. But Abrams has finally told us the main cast members of the film. They include, and this is literally just the order that they're listed on IMDb.
JJ, not the agency.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams. Andy Serkis, Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Domhnall Gleeson, who played Bill Weasley in the Harry Potter series, Adam Driver, who's not necessarily a household name, but you've seen him before. He had roles on in Inside Llewyn Davis and a small role in Lincoln. Oscar Isaac, who played the lead in Inside Llewyn Davis. Max von Sydow, an actor you've seen in tons of stuff, older gentleman. I would guess he's going to be playing a villain. He usually does, and he's definitely got that look. Peter Mayhew returning as Chewbacca, Anthony Daniels returning as C-3PO, Kenny Baker returning as R2-D2, John Boyega, who is in the great British independent film Attack the Block, and Daisy Ridley, who hasn't been in anything that I've heard of, but mostly television, smaller film stuff. So I'm sure you're all shocked, but I have a few thoughts about this. First of all, I know, it's shocking. First off, very happy to see pretty much all of the main actors from the original trilogy making a return.
Mm-hmm.
It's good for throwback value, but it's also super intriguing to me and other mega fans who are now like, so what's the story? What's happening here? Clearly, it seems that Han, Leia, and Luke are now not going to be the main heroes in the story, having passed off much of the action-y daring-do to a new generation of Jedi and or smugglers. But having them there and influencing events is just super, super cool if you're a nerd and into that kind of thing. Of particular interest is Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis right now, for whatever reason, is at the top of the cast list in IMDb. That doesn't necessarily mean anything, of course.
Wait, he was Gollum? Who was Andy Serkis?
He was Gollum. Yeah, he was Gollum and King Kong and Caesar in Rise of the...
So it's an animated creature, probably at the very top of the cast list.
Well, theoretically, but he also had a live action role in King Kong, so he was King Kong and himself. He also had a live action role in Lord of the Rings, which most people don't remember.
At the beginning of the, the
third one.
Yeah, but it was just sort of the origin story of Gollum.
Exactly. Yeah. He
He
has a live action role in a very small live action role in the Hobbit films, in addition to again playing Gollum in the Hobbit films. So what is like? Is he going to be doing live action? Is he going to be doing his motion capture acting? If he's going to break away from motion capture and start doing more live, he couldn't have picked a bigger film to do it with. But then again, motion capture, his motion capture is like superb and totally appropriate for Star Wars, so that's super exciting.
He's the
However,
ape.
He's what?
Caesar.
He is. I said that.
Did you say that? Oh, sorry.
I did. But yay for that. Weta did the effects on that whole film. Anyway, finally, my last thought is less excited and whatever. One of the biggest problems with the original trilogy that a lot of people have commented on much more entertainingly than I can is that there appear to only be 3 women in the entire galaxy, and one of them appeared for less than a complete scene, and one of the others was a stripper in Jabba's palace who didn't have a line and was fed to a rancor. And then other than that, there was Princess Leia, who was cool, but like literally the only woman in the galaxy. So this new cast list doesn't really do much to break that trend. We've got, by my count, at least 12 males and 2 females, one of whom is an older Princess Leia, and the other one we have no idea. So my hope is that Daisy Ridley will be in a fairly major role on par with Leia in the original trilogy to help kind of balance things out, and that more female actors will be added in supporting roles as the casting continues, because rest assured it's not going to be done. So,
well, if you follow the story of Skywalker's the children, one, I can't remember which one, but I think it's a Skywalker or it might be a Solo, is a woman, and she's like a major character. So it very well could be that story that they're going down. I don't know the name of the character off the top of my head, but it's there's already been some talk about that maybe being the case. I mean, you had to have been, by the way, completely living under a rock all week to not have seen the the what do you call it, to not have seen the photo from their reading.
Oh, so cool.
It was everywhere. I mean, and everybody was sharing it on Facebook. So it's I didn't apparently. Hold on one second. Just Mr. L. Raver said, haha, no, that's just on Twitter, but thanks for outing me. You're welcome. You're welcome, Eric. Nobody who tweets is going to be watching this show ever.
So, needless to say, I will keep updating people as we get more and more Star Wars news. But this is very, very exciting. And 2015, not that far away.
No, nice.
Sure.
Michelle, hit it up.
Oh, speaking of which, I was listening to radio last night that, do you know the average age of folks on Facebook is 41? The average age of folks on Twitter is 27.
I bet Instagram's even lower.
Yeah. It was actually talking about Instagram. Yeah, it is much.
Yeah, because that's
like
a lot of kids are like,
kind of.
They're sick of their parents watching what they're up to on Facebook. So a lot of people are like not saying much amongst their friends, social networks on Facebook anymore, and doing it all on Instagram instead.
Totally.
Yep.
I actually wanted to do something different for my main topic today. I wanted to open this up to just discussion with you guys. I went to a thing at a very large house in the Hollywood Hills last night.
It was an orgy, wasn't it? It was an orgy.
Ridiculous house, like infinity pool and a fireplace that's bigger than my first apartment in Manhattan. And I mean, it was just ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, sometimes I forget that people make a buttload of money. Mm-hmm. And then this gentleman had nothing to do with film. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, how many, because obviously we don't do this because we want to be rich and famous, this whole film thing.
I do. Is that not okay, sorry. Then I said nothing.
I was interested in knowing, and I did a little research and I couldn't find it. What is the percentage of indie films that actually recoup? Because as I go about, I don't know if some of you guys know that are listening, I'm working on producing my first short film. And I'm contacting a lot of people to get money for it, and it's very interesting. And yes, I do plan on recouping with this, but I don't quite know how yet. And I'm wondering.
I've done a lot of research on this, and I've tried to. And in fact, it's very, very difficult to figure a lot of that stuff out, particularly because a lot of the films, the independent films that have come out in the last decade, have not been, well, at least since, 2010, 2011. That's not a decade, but you know what I'm saying. Have been making a lot of their money digitally. And they're not sharing that information, and that's been the difficulty. Is that and in fact, the Producers Distribution Agency out of New York City, who distributed and I've talked about this before, Exit Through the Gift Shop and Escape from Tomorrow. They're trying to get other, even smaller companies to release their digital numbers, and still nobody is. They're the only ones, and they're only doing it on 3 films. So that's the difficulty.
Just as an aside, is maybe a pretty good indicator that they're not recouping. I mean, maybe in my opinion.
Why?
Here's the thing.
Why would you be about this?
Here's the thing. If you are a producer and you want to keep producing people's films for your modest paycheck, but that allows you to keep making films, you want to shout to the world, I produced 3 feature films that recouped their costs, because there is no better news that you can give to a potential investor. Even if the investor is only $25,000, $30,000, you say, dude, my films recouped their costs. So either these people are, to some degree, kind of idiots, in my personal opinion, unless I'm missing a huge piece of data that I can't imagine. I would be like what's his name? Carruth, Shane Carruth. Shane Carruth, is that right?
The name's familiar. I don't know who you're talking about, though.
Upstream Color and Primer.
Oh yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, but
anyway, he's right up on IMDb. I spent $7,000. I made $250,000. I spent $10,000. I made $250,000. And you're just like, dude. If that guy asked me for $1,000 to produce a film right now, he would get it. I don't even have $1,000. I'd find it and invest because like that's awesome. That's a statistic.
If you're looking for investors, absolutely that makes sense. And I think that's the question. I think that it's still developing, territory. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know. Like because there's like our hosts, our guests last week, they didn't give us straight numbers, and you might be right. You might be right to some degree, but to another degree, I don't know. There could be all kinds of motivations. All I know is that info is not out there, and but a lot of the I have read more anecdotal information from somebody who's saying that these under $250,000 movies do recoup their money. They just don't recoup it to a large degree. Here's an example of one that they did not release their numbers, but apparently were hugely successful. Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog. Back when that hit, people, and I think my theory about that is that it was Joss Whedon who threw this together. If you've never heard of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, it was Joss Whedon with Nathan, what's his name from Philippos, or I don't know his name. Anyway, with that guy and
Philios. Jesus
Philios,
Christ.
Whatever.
Have
Anyway.
some respect.
And then the guy from Him was also in, what's his name? Come on, Ethan. I don't know. He's got like 3 names.
Himian?
How I Met Your Mother. That.
Which one? Siegel or Neil Patrick Harris? No, Neil Patrick Harris.
Neil Patrick Harris. He played Dr. Horrible, who was like this. It was a musical about a guy who wanted to become a supervillain, and he wasn't very good at being a supervillain, apparently. And it was great, and it was like it launched when Hulu launched, and when they released the final episode, it shut down iTunes. I mean, literally shut down iTunes. iTunes crashed. It was in the very early years of iTunes, mind you, but it crashed it. And so that made an obscene amount of money, and nobody knew how much. And I think the reason why they didn't let anybody know, I don't know. But all I know is,
okay.
But I think that why they didn't repeat it is because Joss Whedon wanted that kind of money wasn't enough for him. I mean, he did whatever, Dollhouse, was that the name of the show that he did right afterwards? And each episode probably cost about as much as that show made. But compared,
the thing for me on that one, again, why that makes sense to me, why those numbers wouldn't be released is like he's Joss Whedon. However much money, if the whole series only made if the whole series made $500,000, $1 million, $2 million, whatever it was, and it could have been significantly more than that. Joss Whedon doesn't necessarily need to be like, oh, I'm making more money. It's like, for him, once you've already made it, you don't really need to like kind of brag anymore. But like for me, at our level, I want to friggin' brag, man. But
it still might not get the people that you're looking for. That's the thing, is the people that are looking. A lot of the film investors that I have met are like, if it costs under $60 million, I don't even want to talk to you. I mean, that's how some of these, you know what I'm saying? And that's just, it doesn't, even if it makes 3 times its money, nobody really cares. So it's, you know what I mean? Not these people, they don't care if it's under $250,000. They don't really care.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
What about Louis C.K.? He never told people how much he made off of that first video. He kind of hinted at it in the first couple weeks, but then you didn't hear anything about it afterwards. You know what I'm saying? I just think it's too little money for some of those investors.
For sure, but here's the thing. I produced a short film for $1,000. It made $5,000. That's unlikely, but whatever. Then I produced another short film for $10,000 and got a $20,000 investment on my next film. Then I produced my feature film for $30,000 and it made $150,000. Then I produced a feature for $1 million. It made $5 million. So now give me a budget for $10 million because I'm working my way up the ladder. I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
again,
but you can keep those numbers and show them privately, but you're not necessarily going to be releasing them online.
Why?
Yeah, I would.
I would too. I mean, I think, and here's kind of my point. I think a lot of indie filmmakers are going into this blind, like completely blind. There needs to be some kind of data source, like a website that, I don't know.
It's a symptom of a problem that, in my personal opinion, that other industries have already kind of sorted out, and that We Make Movies is very much trying to handle. In self-publishing, which I'm very, very active in, dude, every motherfucker talks about exactly what's going on, whether they're doing well or whether they're doing
Yeah.
poorly, because it helps other people mine the data and figure out trends. Excuse me. Independent music, the same way. And an independent film, dude, if we knew what other people were doing that worked or didn't work, we would be able to do something. We'd be like,
I
it's
think
so
the thing
hard.
is we're in the midst of such a massive turn. Like, so much is happening so quickly in our industry
Right.
that it's like a tumult at the moment. And you're seeing, the thing is, anybody can go to the numbers and see the box office. And a lot of, and the numbers is available to anybody and you can see those, but a lot of independent films, they're not necessarily going to be on there because, like I said, because they're using their box office period as loss leaders. They're expecting to lose money in the theaters, but they're using it to gain exposure, and then they can sell direct. That's how a lot of the independent films, probably 900 plus films that Peter Broderick is probably has consulted on, like that's how a lot of these films are, and they keep it. It's just, I don't know. I don't know exactly why. All I know is that there must be some reason, and I don't necessarily think that reason is that they're not making a dime. I think it's completely possible that they just don't want to have their numbers out there, that they're just like, you know what I'm saying? That however,
Well, what I'm saying is that that's indicative of a problem in the industry, a problem of keeping things close to the vest and not realizing that we are part of the film community. We're not all fucking islands out here, people.
Yeah.
We should be working together. We should be sharing our data because other people are doing it and other industries are skyrocketing. When, the film industry's got some problems right now. Smart people are working their way through it, figuring out self-distribution, independent distribution. Joss fucking Whedon released a feature film last week, 2 weeks ago, on Vimeo Pro for $5.
Yeah.
He's doing that, and and he is like reaching out, trying to help people. Maybe not sharing like all of the information that he's got, but if we all did that, dude, the industry would be doing as well as self-publishing or independent music is, or the YouTube community. Dude, you want to talk? The YouTube community is the data sharing king. Everybody's talking about what's going on all the time. Anyway,
anybody wants to start filmtransparency.com and let me know your shit. Tell me.
Indie Rain has started it. You help with distribution, producers distribution agency, but there's only 3 films on the list, so I think we could use more information on that. But yeah, there is already. They're already starting. I think it'd be good. Anyway, I think it's probably time that we move on.
Yeah, we should skedaddle.
So my main topic is about the really interesting article on Kickstarter that I read. It was about I don't want to call it out by name, that was they successfully were funded back in August of 2012, but for over $28,000. But then there's been no movie. No movie has come out of it yet. Now the long story. Anyway, the filmmakers actually tried to initially make $50,000 on Kickstarter, and they failed. So then they lowered it to 25, and then they hit like 28,000 and got the money, but still no movie and not apparently a ton of info. And I think that I'll try to include the link. It's on Medium.com, at least the article that I read about it, and it's. I think when I hear people get mad at Kickstarter, I think it's kind of silly. I think that just like anything else, if you're giving money to Kickstarter, even though you're not expecting a monetary reward, you are expecting some kind of reward, but it's still an investment of a kind. If you're giving something to a project and it doesn't make sense that they're going to be able to hit their target, and this is like with Indiegogo, for instance, like there's zero guarantee. You're giving your money automatically on Indiegogo, whereas with Kickstarter, they have to hit that target. So it's a lot more likely if the people who put together whatever project you're giving to have done their research, it's a lot more likely that if they hit this target, they'll be able to provide what they promised. And Indiegogo, there's a much less of it, because if you give to a feature film and the feature film only makes like $7,000, chances are you probably won't see that feature film, especially if they were trying to raise 44 or 50,000, etc. So it's, to get mad at Kickstarter, I think it's kind of silly. Be smart about where you're giving your money. I mean, if you're giving it to a friend, you're giving it to a friend, and you probably don't really care that much, but it may not be a ton. But if you're giving it to somebody, you have to recognize the very strong possibility they're not going to see anything. So, I think that there are tons and tons and tons of Kickstarter campaigns that have gone bad. But you have to pay attention. You have to pay attention to who it is you're giving to, etc. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Yeah, no, nothing.
Cool.
Nothing from you guys?
Sorry about that.
No, I'm with you.
We got a lot of comments that aren't showing up, so I can't display them. But Viola Minium has chimed in on the comments with a couple of really great questions. She said, for a short filmmaker, after making a short film. Anyway, a bunch of different stuff that I'm trying to answer in the comments while this was going on. But sorry, I was trying to get all that done while this was happening.
No problem.
We've got active commenters today. Yay.
That's great.
That's it.
Great. So do you want to address that at all? $2,000 budget. What are the best ways to expose it to for a short filmmaker? Let me ask the question that you almost asked. For a short filmmaker, after making a short, and by the way, just for the record, I'm curious why we can't show these. I'm curious why our comment tracker isn't working. But anyway,
Hangouts is glitchy.
Fix it, Google. Anyway, after making a short film for, say, at $10,000 budget, what are the best ways of exposing it to the public? 2,000. What did I say? 10? 2.
Yes.
The 2 for a $2,000.
You're spending $10,000 on a short film. You're spending too much.
Well, the fact is, obviously, getting it into festivals helps. Getting it, I like Denny's comment, by the way, which is just a fart sound.
Yes.
Yeah, but literally. Getting into festivals helps, but getting into festivals can be difficult, obviously. Thank goodness, I can see them now. So, boom, there's the question I just asked.
Oh, it just popped up for me too.
Thank goodness. So anyway, but there's Shorts TV, Shorts.tv helps buy films. Apparently there's a site called indie.com. Actually, I have a film that's about to wrap up probably in 10th place right now in a contest that ends, I think, tomorrow morning.
I voted.
Thank you very much. There's a variety of different ways of getting it out there. We talk a lot on this show about the noise, that there's an unbelievable amount of noise out there. You'll have a festival run for a while. I'm not sure if you've just started your festival, just completed the film, but you'll start your festival run for a while, and then you'll just try to get it out there on other means and start to move on to other things. Obviously, getting it up on YouTube once it's done is always a choice. I took forever and ever. I still don't have mine on YouTube. But there's a variety of different options. Sharing it with your friends, etc.
And also finding the niche that your film is going to be in. You know what I mean? Like whatever your film is about. If your film happens to be about, someone who, I don't know, really likes coffee, you market it to people that work in coffee shops or whatever. You find the people that are going to watch it and make sure they know about it. Yeah. And the more niche you are, the better, because then you have a really specific audience.
But there's also specifically building your audience. We do very much live in a culture of like make your own success today, and it's easier than it's ever been before. This is a big topic that, again, we should probably cover on a later episode. I've actually been talking about, self-plug, I've been talking about a lot on my vlog recently, and I'm going to be doing a couple of episodes this week about it. But Michelle and I are working together on something right now, and I am working on something more broadly as a long-term plan. Last year, I directed a film called Overnight. I'm going to tweak it until I'm finally totally happy with it. And then I'm going to put it up on Vimeo for 99 cents. And then Michelle and I are going to do another short film, and I'm going to put that up on Vimeo for 99 cents. And I already have an audience from my books.
Maybe $1.99. We'll talk.
What? We'll talk about the price. But anyway, Vimeo Pro allows you to distribute at whatever price you want and keep 90% of the royalties. But then there's building your audience. Yeah. I already have several hundred people on an email list who I'm going to email and say, like, these people already pay $5 to $10 for my books. So if I email them and say, hey, I've got a film, it's 99 cents, I think there will be a good conversion rate. I have no idea. I haven't done yet. So this is obviously going to be an ongoing developing story. But if you got 10 short films up there, and not everything is appropriate for this. You need to have something that's worth $1 because otherwise people will leave you and they will never come back. But, you know, like my little YouTube sketches and stuff like that, I would never put those up on Vimeo and charge 99 cents for them. But these are like the first film, Overnight, it's 22 minutes long, and it's like, it's funny, people really like it, it's got some special effects, the whole deal. I have no problem saying, you know, you will enjoy this. Here's, you know, charge $1 and then there you go.
Yeah.
And if you get 10 short films up like that and just keep building your audience, collect their email addresses if they'll give them to you, all that sort of thing, you can build your own audience. And then once you get to the point where you're doing a feature film, if you've already got these people who are fans of all of your short films, and then you distribute your own film, like your feature film, and say like, and this one's up here and it's a feature film for $5, you will get people who will do that. Again, you might not be a multi-millionaire directing Hollywood tentpoles, but you can make a living doing independent film, which is what I am going for. I am not going to, you know, like, if I become a multi-millionaire and I can direct, you know, the remake of Ender's Game to erase the stain of that shit from history, then fantastic. But if I'm just making a comfortable living as an independent filmmaker, I am so lucky and happy to have that.
The problem today is that we're no longer the book that you really need to read, Viola, is The Long Tail by Chris Henderson, that we talk about a lot, and it basically talks about this paradigm shift that has occurred in our industry, in actually every industry, but it's particularly hitting our industry right now because of how easy it is to make films. So you can, it's all about audience. It's all about knowing who your audience is and connecting with them. And Garrett, to some degree, has already done that with his books, and he's started, and he's got a bit of a nut of an audience. Do that. If you're in Los Angeles, definitely come to We Make Movies, and you can participate with our audience. We have a very large community, WeMakeMovies.org. I don't recognize your name. If I have met you, I apologize for not recognize your name. But anyway, there you have it.
Also, read Malcolm Gladwell's The Tipping Point.
Yes.
Fantastic book.
Yes. Yeah, those books together are very important, very important. We don't have time to get into them, but you can go watch our past episodes. I particularly am fascinated with both of these books. I talk about this a lot, so feel free to go check out our old episodes of this show.
All right, so we should wrap it up here, guys. This has been a really good episode. We've talked about a lot of things that we will continue to develop in the future, but we've also gone massively over time.
Yeah.
So let's launch into things to know. My thing to know for the week. The last show that I binge watched was Orange Is the New Black. I watched the entire first season in about 4 days. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It's amazing. I know I'm really late here, but I figured it was worth mentioning because the second season is coming out in about a month. So if you haven't yet.
Ugh.
Sorry?
It didn't lose you in the middle of the season? I was like, yay,
Not at all.
yay, and I was like, meh.
Not even a little bit. And the ending, if you didn't get to the ending, you are missing out.
Oh,
you
totally.
Are missing out.
Totally,
So
yeah.
Anyway, if you haven't seen it yet, or if you gave up after a few episodes like Michelle did, check it out, wrap it up, be ready for season 2 because it promises to be pretty amazing.
Yeah. Michelle.
Amazing. Things to know. I am playing with my web series. I have a web series called $20 Los Angeles that I started about 2 years ago in New York, and I did 13 episodes of $20 New York. And I am thinking of bringing it back and doing some stuff with it. So just go to YouTube, $20 Los Angeles, check it out, and if you have any ideas of what to do with it, or where it should go, or if I should keep doing it, just you can email me, michellecadu.com.
Coolio.
Fantastic.
I already kind of said when we were first talking about New Filmmakers LA. I kind of already said what I was planning to say. Just go to newfilmakersla.com. Check it out. Their screenings are great. They're great people. It's a great organization. You should be a part of it. You should be going to their screenings every month if you possibly can. But also separately, this show that I'm doing with Laura Menino, we're still figuring it out. We're like only done 3 episodes in, but we're having fun with it. And she's a very hilarious writer. It's called Short Attention Span. And go to YouTube. It's every Monday morning. We have a new one that releases on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, WMM Originals. And as soon as we hit 2,000 on that same playlist on our political comedy playlist, we're going to be releasing, don't forget, we're going to be releasing the outtakes from our Scott Greenberg thing, and it's just Jeff Bauer being really offensive, pretending he's Scott Greenberg, and it's very funny.
And it's going to be amazing.
There you have it.
Okay, with that, I will call an end to this show. Thank you for the people who chimed in the live comments. We got too many good topics this week, and it made us run over. We will continue to develop all of these things, discuss them in future episodes. I'm Garrett Robinson. You can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Chad Kukihiko can be found at superfreako.com, and you can find Michelle on We Make Movies and at michellelucadou.com.
Yippers.
Okay, there you go. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good day.